Good afternoon, dear colleagues. We continue our working day at Ukraine Crisis Media Center. The topic of the next press briefing is the annual report presentation of the project European Hope for Ukrainian Children of War. Our guests are Vaidotas, Sankalas, Honorary Consul of Iceland and Lithuania, Virginia Sankalena, co-founder of Lithuanian magazine for parents, Larysa, Artiugina, head of NGO Novy Donbas, Natalia Tymoshenko, coordinator of the project European Hope in Ukraine, and Marius, Janukonis, ambassador of Lithuania to Ukraine, will join us soon. So please, Larysa, you are given the floor. Firstly, I would like to thank for this opportunity to meet with these people, and these people are just wonderful. They are from Lithuania, and we thank Ukrainian Crisis Media Center that cooperates with us. And I'm going to speak Russian, that our friends would understand us. That's why we are going to speak Russian. I would like to tell you about the events of the last year. Our volunteer movement, Novy Donbas, is known as a movement that helps to restore schools in frontline area and to establish dialogue among teachers, children in ATO area. So, and parallel to this, we have different projects, very important for us. We didn't tell about it. We didn't have any public discussions and presentations. That was on the advice of our Lithuanian friends. This is help to children who suffered of war, and this is a difficult story, and children that we want to support. And today we are really glad that we can show to all Ukrainians that it is important to help, to support, in help others. And I want to give the floor to Vaidotas Sankalas and his wife Virginia. Unfortunately, their daughters didn't come here, and they also were initiators of this private initiative to help kids that is called European Hope for Children of Ukraine, the children who suffered from war. So I would like to tell you the story that this initiative was started spontaneously, and family Sankalas family, that was really important for them, and we met with them in Lithuania, and I presented some films, and Vaidotas told us that he wants to help Ukrainian children. You know, sometimes it happens, but people speak, but they do not want to act. Some circumstances change, and not always it results in action. And in this case, everything was right, and Vaidotas, he addressed us to establish the system of help, and we thought, how can we make it to provide this help heart to heart from Lithuanian friends to children. And at the end, we created a project. Volunteer Natalia will tell us about this project, and Natalia and Susanna, our volunteers, they carried out these activities for a year. We got financing, we got the stories of children and their families, documents, photos, and we send these materials to our partners. And Vaidotas and Virginia, they see the fate of these children. They search for financing. So this is a private initiative. Vaidotas addresses his friends all around the world, and people support financially and not only financially. And this money goes directly to families, to kids, and we carry out individual work. A volunteer comes to family and gives not only money but also part of his heart and provides support to these kids. I love this project very much, and I believe that today there are some representatives of the media. You can see our kids and their parents. They are here in this hall. It is very pleasant to meet them. And this is a really meeting of people with Virgilis, and if families would like, they can tell us their stories, how they were helped, because sometimes these stories are really difficult. The stories we take and the situation we encounter, they are very difficult. And they are out of the system of state support, because of course the state tries to build the system, but sometimes there are difficult situations or non-standard situations, and we help and we try to help and support people in difficult non-standard situations where the state cannot provide help. There is war in this country, and unfortunately we have a lot of problems connected with the documentation that will fix this tragic situations and problems in order to identify the situation. And also we understand and support a civil society. We support the state in order to provide direct assistance, and no one should be left out of attention. And it should be like in Maidan. There should be direct support of each other. I would like to give the floor to Vaidotas, and I would like him to tell us how he can manage to gather money all around the world. And he is honorary consul of Iceland in Lithuania, and he inspires people to help Ukraine. Thank you. Good afternoon. Of course, I can be really brief telling about this initiative, because it is based on simple things, just to help people who are in trouble. But in any case, for a year or so, when this initiative was started, we saw the need of people, and we understood that we should do something. And of course, this was dictated by the situation that was in Ukraine, and we saw that the situation is unfair. I mean, what happened inside Ukraine. And of course, we should be proud of people who were in Maidan, and those volunteers today who really showed to Europe that changes can be made if people really want them and they are ready to sacrifice even their life. Of course, that was dictated also by aggression, and this is unacceptable. So they're the drivers inside of us that triggered the fact that we should do something about it. That's why, as we say in our family, instead of sitting in front of TV. We should do something in practice. And when we had the first meeting with Larysa, we were got acquainted by Sankalas, the previous ambassador. So this was a very important meeting, and we tried to find ways how to reach people, those families who need help. Maybe it is a small help, but drop by drop, we can do more. And for us, it was important that we can provide hope that Ukraine is a part of good democratic world, not something else. So in a year, due to help here provided by volunteers and with the help of all people who help us there, because we should provide information to the public, and this publicity should be made that people, they should see that we do practical things, and we should attract new people who are ready to help. And in a year, whether it is a small period or a large period of time, but we were able to help to provide assistance to 45 children from 26 families for a sum about 20,000 euro. And there are people not only from Lithuania, but from 13 countries. Maybe not all of them are on this map which we present, but it is great, and we are happy about it. At the same time, we provide information to Europeans. We disseminate information that Ukraine exists, it suffers, and we should support and help. We work as a club of friends. There is no legal person, because that would be a complication, and because according to the legislature of Ukraine and Lithuania, we reach the results, good results, and about 95% of money we have, it goes to the hands of families. They go to children, and we are happier about it, that we spend less money for administering, because we have good friends, such as volunteers, helpers, who are always ready to assist. And among those people who help, the number is about 150 people from 13 countries, and I believe it's a good result. And we do not stop. This idea, it grows, it draws more people, and we won't stop. The situation changes, and Ukraine falls out from the news, and many people see other problems, but the situation in Ukraine is a key to solve the problems of the future of Europe. And that's why these issues are so important. But the most important thing that children can have some joy, to have some good things in their life. And I would like to ask Virginia that he tell us about the origin of this project that was started in our flat.
Good afternoon. I should repeat something because Vaidotas has already said that for a long time we have been watching news and all channels broadcast reports from Ukraine. Vaidotas studied in Ukraine and had friends in Ukraine, and that is why we felt that you are very close to us. Our children have grown up and they went to study in other countries. That is why we decided that we have enough to share with you. First, we make an input of our own money. We donated our own money, and then since Vaidotas has many colleagues, many counterparts in his public activities, so he used his contacts and he set the goal to draw the map of Europe so that every country of Europe joined Ukraine and demonstrated support to Ukraine. It was not easy. It only seems to be easy, but it is not, because in Europe people also in Europe, people used to share with other people their money, but we are former Soviet people in Latvia, and it was rather difficult task to persuade people not to buy new clothing but to share money with those disadvantaged Ukrainian families and children who suffer because of the horrors of war. So with this small snowball, this large initiative started to be formed, and we have people in Dnipropetrovsk. We send them money because we trust in them. They find those families who needs help. So we, being human, we understand your grief and your difficulties. That's all. I would like to add a few words. Our daughters are adult and they live in the free world, and of course it was we always think if only Lithuania had not experienced those changes and we proceeded to live in the Soviet society, whether our children would have the opportunity to be happy. No, they would not be happy. It is impossible if they live in Soviet society. So our daughters understand what the situation was in the Soviet Union, what was happening in Ukraine in Stalin's era. They know all those historical events. Our daughters are our moral support, which is very strong. They can't understand such life. Freedom is the main thing. freedom of choice. I would like your story to be continued by Natasha. Let Natasha tell us some case studies without names. I'm glad to tell you that Mr. Marius Janukonis, ambassador of Lithuania, joined us. Much grief. I will tell you some details. Each case is important for me. Here we work with mothers, with children, with volunteers, and it is difficult for me to talk on this topic. No alien children are in the world. All children are own children. I got into this project by chance. I thought that people express some initiative only at the initial stage, and that's all. But these two people, they are of rare kind. They continue to help us not only with their own personal contributions, but they engage other people to provide financial support to Ukrainian children. Susanna is a psychologist, and we work, we are personal contacts. We do not work with NGOs. We do not attract much attention to our project because we seek really difficult situations to address them in targeted manner. 2014 was the most difficult year when lots of volunteers experienced a very difficult situation. Volunteers, militaries, because and their families also experienced large difficulties because the ammunition, the clothing for warfare was bought from their own money. And when a person then was missing, then families were unable to get any support from the state. So Vaidotas and Virginia's assistance, their support was extremely important those days to those families. I would like Natasha Hesova to show herself. Could you please stand up? Thank you very much. I pay tribute to such volunteers as Natasha. Because one such volunteer knows histories of 40 or 50 families, providing support to those families on regular basis, and my task is only to collect necessary documentation. That's all. I have nothing to add. Thank you. Well, thank you. I would like to add, Vaidotas told us that it is not easy to help in Lithuania, and it is not easy to organize help in Ukraine. If you want to be transparent as we do, we should understand that the state has interests everywhere. The last news is that 18% of charitable contributions should be paid to the state. This is absolutely absurd. But this is the fact. It's a pity. These 18% could be received by children in the form of some toys or stationery goods or fruits which they are lacking because they live in such regions where the warfare is ongoing. We hope that we and other NGOs would address our government to change the situation and to find the opportunity to ensure that the children may receive maximum money of those collected by our European friends on their own initiative. This is perhaps is due to some other needs. We understand that taxes are ordinary things, but 18%, this is too much in the conditions of military war in the country. There are some tasks which civil society alone can't address and resolve. There are more large-scale tasks. Anyway, the Maidan principle that I'm a drop in an ocean, it works. I would like to give the floor to Mr. Marius Janukonis.
Thank you very much. Thank you to our partners from New Donbas for invitation at this press conference. And we thank Mr. Vaidotas and Virginia that they came here to Ukraine to meet with us and with Ukrainian friends and to share their wonderful story. The story, one of which that expresses the feeling of support and solidarity of Lithuanian people with Ukrainian people, Lithuanians who help Ukrainians in this conflict and this difficult situation. And often we speak as official organization, we speak about state support, and in 2 years Lithuania provided about 4.5 million euros to Ukraine for different projects, humanitarian help. But I always stress that there is an invisible part of work that is carried out by volunteers, Lithuanians and Ukrainians, and no one can tell how many Lithuanians came here to Ukraine and provided assistance. We know only part of these instances. From Larysa, I got information that there are people in Lithuania who help families, and we didn't know about it, and that they are modest people and they do not advertise themselves, but what they do is really huge human solidarity. As Vaidotas said, it's a simple motive, the feeling that we should share, and maybe then a person can get more when he provides assistance to others, to those people who are in need. And as an embassy, we are glad to cooperate with Ukrainian volunteers, and we carried out several projects with different organizations and with New Donbas organization in Lugansk Oblast, and we helped schools. It is a modest help, but still I think that this is an important step, and we will sign new contract on organization of camp for children from ATO area, and we believe that by this we will join the forces of the state and non-governmental volunteer organizations. We will move forward. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks to the Ministry of Lithuania, we have an experience of cooperation with them in the summer at the Black Sea coast. There is an opportunity for children from ATO area to be involved in some activities. There will be a camp of peace there, and we are very thankful to our Lithuanian partners for this initiative. And I would like to give the floor to those people who are present here, and you can introduce yourself and ask questions. Do you have questions? I have a question. We heard about the plans for the summer. And do you have further plans, initiatives, and plans for autumn, winter? We are speaking about joint plans with Vaidotas and Virginia. Do you have some plans, Vaidotas? I don't know whether this question was addressed to me, but of course, our plan is really simple. There are goals that we have in our heads, and we do not voice them. Now, I work as a manager, that's why I always plan, I establish goals in time and in figures, but I won't tell you about it now. But the main is that we are going to continue the project, and this will continue this year, and then we will watch and see, because everything depends on the possibilities and capabilities and what number of people we will be able to attract. And you know that Europe is really big, so there are many countries that can participate, and we work on this actively. And of course, we are glad that those people who joined us at initial stage, they return and help us, so we have capabilities, and we should believe in Ukraine, and also we believe in the future of Ukraine, and depends on what is going on here. And we see that we should provide help further. So we are ready to continue, because of course there are people who need help. Of course, we may say that in Lithuania there are also children who need help, but we understand that here in Ukraine this help is more needed. I just remind that you can represent your projects at Ukraine Crisis Media Center. We are always open for cooperation. So questions? Please introduce yourself first. Anna Makarenko from Press, New Donbas. Can you tell us about the meeting of the families, and what is the attitude of the families towards you? Maybe this is the question for Natalia. So this is a matter of trust, because we should tell you the story about the beginning of the project, and there are two people here in this hall with whom this project was started. This is first two stories, and it was difficult to work with these people. I cried a lot that time. But then you begin to understand that you do not need to cry, because these stories continue. So the matter of trust, maybe it's not a question to me, but maybe to Ola, to Ina, how does trust appear, and at what stage when you understand that people call and then they are ready to provide assistance. Maybe this is the question to them. So maybe this is the question to the families, because I trust people from the start. I know the stories, and I know the story of the family beforehand. I don't call just like this. And we work with volunteers, we work through personal contacts, and I know the story beforehand. That's why if someone of those who are present here, maybe they are ready to tell us about their stories. Maybe someone from the mothers of these kids, how this trust is developed. Maybe you can come up on stage. I would like to tell you when we lost our dad in this war, a lot of people wanted to help us. They were from Ukraine, volunteers phoned, and you know, there was no such question of mistrust. Many people were so open. And when Natasha phoned, we believed everything was right. And Natasha, she showed a page on Facebook, page of Vaidotas, and I saw the information about it. And you can find it on the internet. You can find information about the people, and from the start we trusted them, and we are really grateful. And I personally am really grateful that we have such people like you. Let God bless you for all you do. Thank you very much. Do you have other comments?
Are there any questions to our speakers? I would like to add Natasha several times during the year quitted the project, and next day she came and resumed her work, because this is very emotional and difficult activities. When you get to know the tragedy of some family and some children, when you would like to help someone, and our principle is not just to transfer money, but to bring money and to contact and support morally those families and children. So this trust, this confidence, it was increased, and it was passed from one volunteer to another volunteer, and every time we didn't know whether it would achieve good result in the confidence as a result, or maybe someone may say that I don't understand, and I don't like to retell the story of my grief, of my tragedy again. That is why it was always difficult to write the story, to write case study. It should be translated, the confidence should be translated, and the case studies, the histories should have been translated, and we did that. I don't think that those principles which were developed at Maidan, that they continue to exist in Ukrainian society. This is difficult activity. It is a complicated process. It can't be easy. We value and appreciate very much our volunteers and our partners. They are huge capital, which is confidence. This is the main principle on which everything is built in our project. Natalia Bilik, NGO. I'm a friend of Donbas for a long time. Larysa started to tell this complicated topic. I would like to hear from you. How do you plan to restore mental health of your volunteers? Because after 2 years of volunteering, your mental health is broken. It is very difficult to experience the pain of other families, other peoples, other people. Yes, this is so. We felt that after 1 year of activities, we have a plan. We would like to establish a training center in our organization, and one of its goals would be to protect and train volunteers not to lose their emotional health because of burning out. We also get psychological assistance from NGOs which we have contact since Maidan times. Yes, many volunteers are tired and they do not have enough strength to proceed. We are now applying for grants, and we will address this problem closely, because volunteers, they are unique people. We should take care of them. And we can say that we can see that they will have what to do for 5 years at least, for coming 5 years. So from short-term to long-term planning, this is our way. We should understand that our war and our struggle, this is for a long term. I would like to add, if you don't mind, this is to the matter of rehabilitation. When you get feedback from the one side, there are children and families and mothers, and on the other hand are those European volunteers you can see here on the stage, and you are in between. Then many matters resolve themselves. I would like to add about this emotional part. It is really very complicated. We also pass these emotions through. Talking about our features, when you touch the tragedy of the other person, not every person is capable to cope with these emotions. Not everyone can do that. We brought gifts to small children. They were financed by NGO titled Memory of Lithuanian Great Princedom. Those times when some part of Ukraine also was part of that ancient Lithuania. One more comment. My name is Olga Komisarova, Dance Laboratorium Group. I would like to thank you for a miracle which you made. One of the families, the Smolniks family, received the house. They bought that house because they lost their house in Gorlivka. This is a very complicated case, and this is a real miracle that this family now has their own house and their own land. Thank you very much. Thank you for this news. And we have a photo of this house. Thank you, girls, for your help, for your contribution. I would like to invite our creative volunteers to the stage to join us. They are fantastic girls and they have prepared some presents, some surprise for our Lithuanian charity.
So I said that we would provide you with some pleasant surprise while you are in Ukraine. So this is time to get these gifts. So our present. So the present. Thank you. United People Group. So these are the girls. They are wonderful. Thank you very much for this performance. And at the end of this wonderful day, I would like to thank. I want to thank you. I don't know whether I could read it in Lithuanian. So this is our gratitude that we prepared for Vaidotas and his wife. And I would like to tell you in Ukrainian, thank you very much for provision of this wonderful help to Ukrainian children. Thank you very much for your big heart and for the support of Ukraine. And traditionally, we would say glory to Ukraine, glory to heroes.
Извините. Я думаю, что мы можем продолжить уже общаться неформально, потому что есть дети.
Maybe we are going to speak off records then. And if you don't have other questions or comments, thank you very much, dear friends. We hope that we will meet soon. Till the next time, goodbye.